What didn't you know about sex before your first time? I knew that condoms could slip off, but I didn't know that they could slip and disappear inside my vagina. I found that out last Tuesday, too. I never would have thought something like that could happen. My boyfriend pulled out his hose and wondered, what happened to the condom? Where'd the condom go? I looked and realized it was lost in my vagina. That dicks can get so big when men get aroused. I always thought that those men who are lavishly endowed by nature, everything hangs in their pants the same as they do during sex. It wasn't until the first time I saw my boyfriend's flaccid dick, I realized I was wrong. He very much shrunken. That the sensations experienced in the C-spot are very different from other parts of the vagina. The first time I explored my vagina with my fingers, I suddenly found a point that felt different from everything else. It was really cool, so my fingers stayed there for a long time. Condoms for prolonged pleasure, no one would buy them if their name was closer to the truth. Condoms with an anesthetic that will make your dick numb. It's pretty hot inside. I swear you could roast a hot dog inside a vagina. A colleague at a previous job told me how he lost his virginity. He stuck his dick in and immediately pulled it out. Said to the girl, "Is that a vagina or an oven?" and chased her away. He even seemed proud of what he did. No, he hadn't. He'd never had a girlfriend before. Neither had he since. He was done with it. Sex in the shower is complicated. I've never taken a bigger risk than when I tried to hold a girl upright, leaning against the wall. Sometimes girls start trembling when they reach orgasm. When I was a very inexperienced young man and I was doing a girl and it happened to her, it really scared me. She threw her head back and her whole body shook for a few seconds. I was sure that her vagina was about to have some demons fly out of her vagina. Creepy moans. In the movies, the sex scenes sound so sensual. It's about the same in real life, only sometimes the moans become just nightmarish. I remember the first time I had sex with my then boyfriend. He told me my vagina was too tight. After he moved a few times, my vagina got full of air and made a farting sound. I was so embarrassed. He looked at me and said, "Was that an orgasm?" I rolled with laughter. Sex causes leg cramps. It's the wildest thrashing. One minute you're enjoying having sex with a beautiful woman, and the next you're screaming in pain, flailing on the other side of the bed and crying. Muscles can hurt worse than anything in the world. To hell with those leg cramps, that vaginas are not bottomless. Also, the position of the cervix changes throughout the cycle. What? I have a cervix, but this is the first I've heard of it. During my period, my cervix is deeper, and the rest of the time it's not. The rest of the time it's not as deep. You can see for yourself if you check its position with your finger every few days with your finger to check its position. Here is a dialogue I had with two different guys, but not at the same time. "Could you back up a little bit? You're hitting on my cervix and it's hurting me." "You're... what? This?" Poking further there. "Yeah, I can feel a hole here." "Yeah, there's a hole there, all right. Can I try to go in it?" "Never do that. Don't even think about it." That trying to hold back an orgasm is much harder than trying to hold back a urine stream. That male semen isn't that viscous. I always thought that it was like glue or maple syrup. It's not, it's just very slippery, which is even worse when you try to wash it off in the shower. The skin of the penis moves. I thought jerking off a penis was the same as wanking your finger, for example. And I was surprised when I realized that the skin was moving too. That during sex in the doggy position, my partner could see my anus. When I found this out, I was embarrassed about the hair that my partners could see. I also found out about this just recently and realized that my boyfriend, who we've been dating for 2 years, has been staring at the hair around my anus and never said anything about it. I was very lucky to have him. That there is actually a lot less magic in sex than I thought. But later, as I gained experience, I realized that it could bring a lot more pleasure than I expected. How great it feels when you come in another person. That after hard anal sex, if a guy comes inside, you should almost immediately try to poop in the toilet. Otherwise, you'll be lying in bed and you'll feel like you're going to fart. But what you're really going to get is not air, but an infernal mixture of lubricant, semen, and shit, and it's all going to end up on the bedding. If the maid of the hotel where you decides to quit, it will be your fault. You have to have anal sex by following all the rules. Otherwise, you will face unpleasant consequences. When girls are horny, they can secrete so much that you might think it's semen. The first time I had sex in the dark, I could hardly see anything. The second time, I put my buddy in, and when I pulled it out, it looked like it was covered in glue. I was shocked, and I thought, when did I come? that the inside of the vagina was very, very well. I didn't know that two naked bodies touching each other bodies can heat up to very high temperatures. I had always dreamed of me and my girlfriend lying naked next to each other for hours. But in reality, after 10 to 20 minutes, I start sweating, which forces me to roll back to my side of the bed.